And it looks like it has began. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to wait for it to show up on my phone. But what's going on, guys? Sky here from techlifetodayco today, back with a video for you guys today. Today I want to change things up and do a live stream on YouTube. I almost never do a live stream on YouTube, but I figured, why not? We haven't done this in a long time. We generally go on stream, stre.am/tech. That's where we're probably going to continue doing that. But I felt like, why not do a special stream on YouTube? We haven't done this in a long time, so I figured, why not give it a shot, see how it goes, and maybe, who knows, maybe it'll work out well, and maybe you guys will want us to do more streams on YouTube rather than any other platform. Sorry, I just hit the camera, or the mic, my apologies. But today in particular, I want to talk to you guys about RIP. Alright, the death of Pebble. I personally love Pebble. I love the company. I think it was a great platform. It was one of the first, for those that don't know, it was one of the very first companies that created a smartwatch. It was as simple as that. And the question is, at this point, where do smartwatches really go from here? Let me make sure. Alright, the audio does work fine, which is fantastic news. I'm glad to see that it is, or at least it looks like it's working fine. So I'm very happy about that. But at the end of the day, where do smartwatches really go? I mean, we had the Pebble. We had a variety of different smartwatches out since then. For those that have been in the smartwatch game for a long time, you guys know about the Apple Watch now, and you know about these different watches. But for those who were a part of the smartwatch world since like 2012, 2013, you guys will know that Pebble was one of the very first companies to create a so-called smartwatch. And this smartwatch, called the Pebble, let me just turn that down. The very first smartwatch was the Pebble. It was just called the Pebble. Alright? And a lot of people liked it because of how simple it was, and it was a great, elegant device. It was one of the very first times where you can actually get notifications on your wrist, which for the time was just fantastic. I remember owning the very first Pebble. I went out and bought it. I remember getting it, and I absolutely loved it. So, at the end of the day, what do I think about Pebble as a company? I think they were, it's unfortunate that they are going to be it's fortunate that they're acquired by now Fitbit, because it looks like the death of the company has arrived. However, I want to see the future. I'm looking forward to seeing the future of the company. I think this could turn out well. I'm not 100% sure. Obviously, no one really knows what's going to happen, but I'm hopeful. I am hopeful that this will turn out good. And I'm going to show you guys real quick the website now. So as you guys can see here, Pebble has ended. Alright, so they had multiple devices. They had the Pebble, they had Pebble Time Round, Pebble Round. They had a whole bunch, they had a variety of different watches. I think the problem with Pebble, though, was that it was too simple for our time. So they were the pioneers of the smartwatch, which I think no one can dispute. But at the end of the day, they did not do enough to keep up with the game. Keep up with the competition, like Apple, Samsung. I would say Motorola, but it doesn't seem like they're doing that anymore. They didn't keep up with the companies, in specific Apple. They knew very well that the Apple Watch was going to happen. Realistically. Or that the Apple Watch was going to happen. Based on the rumors and all that. They should have came out with a touchscreen smartwatch. I think, honestly, if they did that, I think there would have been a chance that, I think they could have taken the game. For a while, Fitbit, really Fitbit still has a majority, but Pebble had a good portion of the smartwatch market. If you remember a few years back, for a certain amount of time, they had a decent amount of the market share for the smartwatches as a whole. And then when watches like the Android Wear came out, and then when the Apple Watch specifically came out, the Pebble just tanked. It was because no one wants. I still love I still own a Pebble Steel, and I still wear it. I love my Pebble Steel. I think it was a great purchase. I love the watch a lot because how simple it is and how it works. Because there's those times when I just want to click a few buttons and get to it. But at the end of the day, I think they didn't do enough, and that was ultimately their problem. I don't think they did enough to keep up with the game. I really, as disappointing as it may sound, because honestly, I love the company. I think it was one great company. But at the end of the day, I don't think they survived very well. They didn't survive, and I think that's why they ended it. If you do the research, they tanked at the end. They didn't have any money. They didn't know what to do at that point. So that's why they're selling it. That's why they sold the company. So where it goes from here is Fitbit now owns the company, 100% of it. I think the Pebble brand will be gone at this point, as sad as it may be. The pioneers of smartwatches as a whole is done. However, at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do. So here's a few statements from Pebble. Pebble will no longer promote, manufacture, or sell any devices. So that includes anywhere from the very first Pebble to the most recent Pebbles, including the brand new Pebble 2 and Pebble Time 2, and all those different devices. They've also announced that they're going to be reimbursing everyone. So everyone that kickstarted their device, their brand, will now be getting a refund. It's kind of sad because now for those that own a Pebble, very well that you have a watch that the majority of people are not even going to know about 5 years from now. Everyone's heard of Apple Watch. A lot of people have heard about Gear S's. No one's going to hear about Pebble anymore. And that's kind of sad because, I was thinking about buying the Pebble Time. I was thinking about it. I don't think I'm going to now, but I may. I'm still contemplating about whether I do it or not. But I have the Pebble Steel, and I love the watch. I can't deny that. I like the quality of it. I think it's fantastic. It's nice. It's a nice looking watch. I owned the very first Pebble as well, and it was decent. I didn't like it too much because of the plastic design, but it was still, for the time, extremely cool to have because it was all plastic, or not all plastic. It was something that you actually got notifications on your wrist. I remember how excited I was the first day I got it, and that was because you could, for the very first time, get a notification on your wrist. Rather than having to look at your phone and do all this stuff, you can look on your watch, which, keep in mind, for the time was just incredible. Now, not so much, kind of boring now. But for the time, it was definitely very important. Now, I'm still considering it. I may end up purchasing the Pebble Time, the original Pebble Time. I'm considering the option. I'm not too sure yet, because at the end of the day, it's going to be gone very soon, and it's going to be a part of history. But I'm probably going to make my decision around Christmas time, so in around 12 days if they still have it in stock. But if you go to places like Amazon or eBay, you can find a bunch of Pebble Times, Pebbles, Pebble Steels, all those devices for a lot cheaper. I remember looking the day before, because I was actually I was genuinely considering it. I own an Apple Watch. It is by far. I'm not saying the Apple Watch is bad. I'm saying the exact opposite, actually. Pebble, the Apple Watch is my favorite smartwatch of all time, and I wear it every single day because of how much I like it. I like the Apple Watch. But I also like the Pebble Steel a lot. And I also like the first generation Pebble. Not as much as Pebble Steel, but I liked both. So I'm considering to get the Pebble Time just because it brings a little bit of, history. It's kind of cool, to be honest. But the prices have tanked. So, for example, the Pebble Time, a day or two before before it came out that they were being acquired by Fitbit, the price of the Pebble Time was $99 on Amazon. Now, if you go on there, you just type in Pebble. The first thing comes up is Pebble Time smartwatch in black. I'm checking as we speak. And it's $69, and that's it. That's it. It's only $69, which is a fantastic bargain for it. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm considering it, because I really do like the watch. But what goes on from here, I don't think much is going to change, because, at this point, Pebble wasn't all that, especially as of recent, wasn't very big in the game. It didn't make much. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference overall. I really don't. It's fantastic. I'm not going to deny that. It's a fantastic watch. It was a fantastic company. But ultimately speaking, nothing's going to change. I mean, I don't think the market is affected in any way, shape, or form by this. You know, I think Apple and Fitbit are going to take the majority by far. You can see this right here. Returns of Pebble.com orders will be successfully completed, and they should be by now. You return to exchange based on the policies. So, I mean, I don't know. You can still find replacement stuff and all that, which is cool. But this is what I find is a little disappointing right here. I'm a little worried about this because I like to still use my Pebble. All right, so and there's a lot of people who do. Let me find it real quick. I can't find it. I don't know where it is, but it said somewhere, and you probably can see it somewhere. Oh, here you go. Pebble devices will continue to work as normal. No immediate changes to the Pebble user experience will happen at this time. Now, prior to this, they changed this recently. It used to say that there may be changes. So that does worry me, genuinely. I mean, I like to use it, so I'm worried that they're going to shut it down. One of these days, maybe like a year or two from now, they're going to shut down the Pebble ecosystem. That'd be a little disappointing, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. I think it'd be kind of disappointing to see that. But at the end of the day, like I said, I'm not going to make this a very long video. At least I'm not trying to, even though it is a very long video. And generally, that's what happens. If you watch our live streams, you know that's exactly what happens. But I think at the end of the day, you know, all right, it looks like the stream's going good, so that's fantastic, guys. 7.5 minutes in, so I just want to check real quick to see. But ultimately speaking, I don't think this is going to make much of a difference whatsoever. I like Pebble. I like the company itself. I think it's a fantastic company. I'm going to miss it. But at the end of the day, they didn't do enough. They didn't do enough to stay in the game. And that's why they were failing over the past 2 years. And that's why they were acquired, as of recent, by Fitbit, which is starting to fail as well as a company. So when I'm asking the ultimate question, which is the question of the live stream, where do smartwatches go from here? I don't think there's going to be very many changes whatsoever. I don't think much is going to change, because nothing really needs to change. Fitbit didn't do Pebble didn't do enough to affect the market, and that's why they were gone. So that nothing's going to change with Fitbit. Or nothing's going to change with Pebble being gone. I think Apple's still going to release their smartwatches, their Apple Watch 3, or whatever they're going to call it. Samsung's going to still release the Gear S3s and Gear S4s. They're going to continue releasing those. Android Wear, I see having a problem in the next few years, especially as of recent. There's barely been any smartwatches that have been released this year for Android Wear. I think Android Wear is going to be slowly dying out over the next 5 years, unless they really get to the game. Android Wear was a fantastic company at first, or a fantastic service at first, or software to the very least, because not only is open source to different companies, so any company can make it, or any manufacturer, like Motorola, Huawei, all these different companies can make their own watch, or their own form of the watch. But it was also before the Apple Watch itself. So that's why it had, for a little slight period of time, Android Wear had a majority, at that point, had a good portion of the market. Then the Apple Watch came in, and then everything just failed from there. Fitbit still owns the majority of the watch, or fitness watch sales. But Apple is quickly coming up on them. People have heard of the Apple Watch. People have heard of Fitbits. I think most people have heard of Samsungs. No one's heard of Pebble. No one really has heard of Android Wear. You sound like a geek if you have an Android Wear device. And I own one. So I think right now, with Pebble being gone, it's not going to really affect anything. However, I think something could change with Android Wear being gone. If Android Wear leaves, the obvious two is going to be Apple and Samsung. And right now, it looks like Apple's going to take the majority, just like they did with the iPad. That's their ultimate goal. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. So where smartwatches go from here, I don't know necessarily, but I think Apple's going to end up, at this point, taking a huge chunk of the market. I think Samsung has a chance if they do play it right, which so far I think they're doing pretty good. I think Fitbit has to come on top. They have to do something if they want to stay in the game. I think they need to go a little beyond fitness watches. I think they need to go into more smartwatch-esque devices. Oops, my apologies. Like they started doing, which I think is a good start, but I think they need to excel on that. And I think maybe this acquisition will help that, but I think they need to do it quick. Because right now, it looks like Apple and Samsung are taking their cake, and right now, Apple by far has a majority of smartwatch sales. Big shout out real quick to Jason Hilario, I think, or Hilario. I'm not too sure about that. If you guys ask for a shout out, I'll be happy to give it to you guys. I just subscribe to you as well. I'd appreciate it if you subscribe back to us. But ultimately, at the end of the day, nothing's going to really change. I personally don't think anything's going to change. I don't see any reason for anything to change with the market. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Like I said, it's very interesting at the end of the day to see what's going to happen. At the end of the day, who knows what's going to happen with all these companies and all that. So anything could change in a matter of a minute. You know, a minute in tech is like a year. You know, it's so true what they say about that. So at the end of the day, who knows necessarily what's going to actually happen. But I think we're going to see a big change in smartwatch market over the next 2-3 years. Maybe I'd say at most 5 years. I think by the next 5 years, smartwatches will be changing a lot. And I think it's definitely going to be the case when it comes to Apple and Samsung. If Apple continues the way they're playing the game and they're going to continue doing this, they are going to likely take the majority of the market. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I definitely appreciate all your feedback. I do appreciate everyone joining us today on the stream. I definitely appreciate that. This will be going live on YouTube right afterwards. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and all that good stuff. Be sure to subscribe to us on the Tech Hacks Today YouTube channel. Link won't be in the description below, but you can go to the Channels tab on YouTube and find Tech Hacks Today. You can just type it in on the internet. And you can subscribe to us there for weekly hacks every Tuesday and Thursday. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RealSkyV. And I hope to see you guys in the next video.